know so much.
Yeah, it was just Monica making mashed potatoes and turkey, and that was about it.
Nothing
Yeah.
is just Monica making mashed potatoes. Nothing. Nothing. But now, if you go back and see one of those Friends Thanksgiving episodes, there are jokes that they make about, the Chandler says some funny things about like when Joey walks in and some pilgrim thing is mentioned and some pumpkin thing is mentioned. Now those jokes will also start to make sense. They are good humor jokes. They're not derogatory jokes or negative jokes. They're said in good humor. But now, because I always wonder how much of Friends you all understand, because so many of the sarcastic comments that Chandler makes, or the goof ups that Joey does, or the Phoebe's little like upper niche craziness, how much of that do you all really understand? Because but yet y'all are so absorbed with this show. Now imagine how much more fun it will be. So when you watch your next episode, I want to know about it. I want to know what that experience is like. um, so that'll be great. Swara, you did not adjust the alumni all stars group, Pita, like I asked you to, or you did that?
No. So, like I said, the last class when everybody had come, we had formed a separate group only with all these people.
Acha, so
So,
now I have one more
yes.
group. તને પૈસા મળે જ આ પહેચાન WhatsApp groups create કરવામાં? અને
So the alumni was.
તને કોણ પૈસા આપે જ આ groups create કરવા? તે મને જાણવું જ. Because it's not coming out of the KurNiv Foundation fund. That's for sure. I wish WhatsApp would give us Satyam is the king of sending ideas. I wish Satyam would send this idea to WhatsApp. Make a separate little chotu icon where you can only see your groups. Fatafat, whichever ones you want to get yourself out of, ek jhatka mein nikli sakhe. But WhatsApp does not want to give us the option to get out. All right, we should have how many kids with us? 20? 21? 22? How many kids?
23.
Okay, we're at 14. We have another minute. Finally, a caretaker. One of my friends' fathers-in-law contracted COVID, and he's staying alone. So she has young children. So her husband, and the kids have all gone. So I was just seeing where they've reached and all of that stuff. All right. We'll give them a couple minutes because class ran late. So let everybody get water or what they need. How is everybody? Everybody has a notebook, a pen or a pencil, and their last week's Pehchaan statement, the statement that they made, right? These are the things you need to have available with you: a paper pen or paper pencil, and your last week's Pehchaan statement, whatever statement you said last week for Pehchaan. Yes? So we're just going to pick up exactly where we left off. We're not going to waste time. I know Satyam and Kajal must be immensely exhausted between organizing the grains, distributing the grains, me getting upset this morning with Kajal. And so I think let's be patient with both Kajal and Satyam. I'm sure they'll connect with us. I see Kajal on, but I think she must have something going on they're still at the distribution facility. There. Kajal, are you home now?
Yes, thank you. I'm here.
Okay. That's good. All right. So who are we missing now, Swara, please? Akhilesh. Was Akhilesh part of this group? No. Okay. Okay. Do we know who we're missing?
Yes, Ankita, I don't see here. Ankita,
Okay.
Saurabh, there's no Saurabh.
Ankita,
Saurabh,
Saurabh, and
Sejal,
that's weird. Sejal is always there. Okay. Ankita, Saurabh, Sejal. That's it. Anyone
Bhushan,
see?
Bhushan is here.
Bhushan is here.
Bhushan is here. Anjali Punjabi.
No, she was here. She must. There she is. I see her. She's here. She's here. She's here. Okay. So we have 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay. We'll figure it out. Okay. So I'm going to get right to it. Let me tell you, I'm going to right away put you into breakout rooms. Immediately put you into breakout. I'm going to put the waiting room on only so I can more effectively manage these breakout rooms. So I'm going to immediately put you into breakout rooms. I'm not going to choose who goes into which breakout room. Okay. The computer will automatically choose that. Okay. So automatically you will get assigned to a breakout room. So your team will be randomly picked by Zoom. Here, there's Ankita. Okay. This waiting room can be a blessing. You know who's coming, who's going. All right, here's what you're going to do. Here's what you're going to do in your breakout room. And I'm going to give you a whole 5 minutes to do it. Now, when you hear what I tell you, you're going to say only 5 minutes, but I think it's like a whole 5 minutes. All right. You're going to listen to your group's statement about Pehchaan. Okay. You're going to give them each person. So pretend Arushi, Freyaz, Mohammed, and Vrushali, because I see us on one corner of the screen. Pretend we are one team. Okay. Arushi will read her statement. Vrushali, Freyaz, Mohammed will give her feedback on how she can remember last week's lessons. We'll review last week's lessons before I put you into breakout. And structure her sentence in a stronger manner. What's missing in that sentence? Is there a connect? Is there a call to action? And Arushi then has to correct her statement. Okay. Then you go to Mohammed, Vrushali, Friyaz, everyone gets feedback. Then, so that's 4 minutes, right? Arushi gets feedback, Mohammed gets feedback, Vrushali gets feedback, Friyaz gets feedback. 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. Super simple science. And then in the fifth minute, you sit and you rewrite your sentence. And then we all come back in here and we share our sentences. Fair enough? Fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. So 4 and 4, 8. And for 12, 14, 15, 16, 4 groups, 5 groups. So I'm making 5 groups. 2 groups will have 1 extra person. That's that 1 extra minute to come back into the room. All is set. All right. Have the best time. Don't waste time. What would author Sherry say about time? Okay, create. How many rooms did I say? 4 rooms or 5 rooms? 5? Okay, 5 rooms, assign automatically. See you soon. You have to accept the invite to hop into a room. There you go. Good job. Saurabh, accept the invitation to go to your room, please. Saurabh, can you hear me? That was quick. You all must have got done. Perfect. I can tell some of your peers are still feverishly working. None of them want to come back. They don't know I can forcefully bring them back if they choose not to come back. All right. I was laughing. I was like, everyone's writing till the last minute. None of them are accepting that invite to come back to the room. Little do they know that I can forcefully bring them back into the room. All right. So I think we lost Saurabh because of his signal connection. So one room unfortunately had only 3 people, and one group had 5. So let's begin. I see Mohammed in my upper left corner, so I'm just going to begin with Mohammed and go through. Mohammed, who was in your group?
Okay, so it was Swara, Ananya, Satyam, and me.
Oh my gosh, what a group. All right. Mohammed, let's go. Your sentence, please.
So
Okay,
my
1
answer
second.
is
Sorry, beta. Before you do that, somebody help me recap. What did we learn last week? Somebody help me recap. What did we learn about these statements last week? There were a few core things we learned. Ayush?
Combination of left and right brain.
Yes, left and right brain. Perfect, Ayush. What did you learn about left and right brain?
So what content left? Can I go?
Yes, go ahead. I'm listening to you only.
Yes. So I learned from last section is that what contains left brain and what contains right brain. So all
Okay.
logical thinking things are contained in left brain, and what we learn in the right brain.
Okay. Ankita. Thank you, Ayush. Ankita.
Yes, ma'am. So, if we describe a thing which we see and we describe it as it is, then we are more of a left brain person. But if we include some creativity or some metaphors and relate it to other things, it is a right brain thing. And if we have to think, if we it's a direct answer, then it is like a left brain answer, and if we have to think very much, then it is a right brain sentence.
Fair enough. Anjali, I saw your hand go like this. Punjabi, Anjali Punjabi.
No, I was
No,
trying to shut the window.
they should be careful when you do that, and I see that.
Sorry.
No worries, Jan, doing masti with you. Pratiksha.
Yes, ma'am. So I was saying what I learned from last session is to use logic more instead of thinking what is going on. So from last week only, I've started to think more logically and trying to be more creative when it comes to certain videos or some sessions or even when talking. I think I've learned that part.
Okay, I think you mean laterally. Logically would be more your left hemisphere. So I think what you're trying to say is laterally. Think more laterally. Use your right and your left, right? So what no one's still telling me what were the yes, Ananya and then Avisha, please. Ananya, go ahead.
We learned that information first goes to the emotion center and then the logic center.
That's right, Ananya. That's right. And how can we use that piece of information when we're answering interview questions? How can we use that information? I gave you all three concrete tips also last week. Avisha, what were you going to say, love?
I had the same thing to say as Ananya, and two things more were we should not let that gate go up, because if our amygdala gets activated, then there is no way the information will even reach our logical brain to answer it in the first place.
Yes.
So that we need to keep our, we need to make sure that we don't let our gates up. And in case they go up, how can we let them let them down very quickly?
Okay.
And also, while answering impromptu questions, you said that if we answer only from one side, like either left or right, we are only connecting to those set of people in the audience.
Right.
So if we, our answer needs to have both so that we can light up and connect with everyone in the audience.
Correct. Correct. Absolutely. Absolutely. Swara?
While answering, we also discussed that we need to have some part of the question in the answer, so the listeners know what question are we exactly answering to, or what point are we referring to.
Yes, Swara. So that was the first of the three tips that I gave you when you were answering a question. Number one, refer the question in your answer so the listener knows to which point you are speaking. That was definitely one of the 3 points. The second point is what Avisha said. The second point is what Avisha said. Your answer should appeal to left and right brain. Means there will be some portion of the answer which is logical, practical, knowledgeable, giving information. And there will be one part of the answer that is an emotional connect. That makes you connect with the, sorry, one portion of the answer that will be a creative way of answering, which will make your audience have right and left brain connect. And the third point, since I already said it, because you feel first, you think second, is to have an emotion connect in your answer. There were 3 components. So those of you on this MS Talk 21-day challenge that we are doing together, some of you, when I'm giving my speeches, some of you are resonating with them very, very, very much or very deeply, right? That's because if you are left brain or right brain, it's talking about both sides, it's appealing to both sides. So if you look at yesterday's talk, for example, which was about negativity and how do you handle negativity, the left brain portion of that was the fact that we have this amygdala, it controls response, blah 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 blah. The right portion of that was the experience, me learning it and how it has added value and helped me try to handle situations. So that was the right side trying to connect the left side concept. And the emotion part of it was at the end, in terms of I wish you a positive life, I wish you, it's not so easy but it's not so difficult, it's doable. That emotional connect, because it had all 3 components, it connects much better. But when you're missing one of the 3 components, the speech or the answer don't connect to the audience. Now, if you go back, thank you, Mom. If you go back and you see, uh, I think it was day 2, one of the day 2 speeches, where actually the moderator pointed out, hey, Freyaz, you don't have a personal story that you have said. So I was missing the emotional component, and he could tell. It was rather left brained, right? So I didn't have the right brain, nor did I have the emotion connect. So when we're talking, these 3 components all have to be looked at. Am I right? Now repeat for me. What are the 3? What's the first one? No, no, no. Ananya, first one. The first one. Swara said it. What was the first one?
Refer the question.
Yes, 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 Satyam. Right? If you
Refer
think,
the question.
correct. If you think about the talks also, right? Right up front in every talk, what are we saying? Our topic today is, correct? We create that little teaser, then we give our introduction, means who we are, and then we go into today's topic, right? Aren't we doing that? So you're referring the topic, you're referring the topic, then you're doing your left brain and your right brain statements, and you're also making sure there's an emotional connect, because it has to go past the emotional gate to get to the logical gate. Make sense? So these 3 components. So now when you say your sentences, I want to see all 3 components. what you are answering, the question is, what is Pehchaan, right? So that question will be referred in your statement. Your left and right brain connect will come in your statement, and your emotional connect will come in that statement. Making sense what I'm trying to say? Everybody, these three components. I want to share with you an image that two images actually. So right now, stop writing. Don't try to fix your sentence. Right now, learn this information. Then if you want me to give you another minute to sort out your statement, I'll give it to you. All right. So just now focus on what I'm trying to teach you, because this is an important concept that I'm trying to get to sit in your head. So I um, found this image yesterday because I wanted to share with you how indeed this our brains are structured, right? Because it's important to understand this. Can everybody see this image on their screens? Okay, great. So you see this little part here that I'm putting my cursor on almost looks like it's sticking out of the brain, right? So this is going to be the lower end of the brain. Okay, this is going to be the lower end of the brain, and this is going to be the higher or the front end of the brain. So if I put it in context of how we actually look, I'm going to move sideways so I can show you. Lower end of the brain, upper or front end of the brain. Making sense what I'm trying to say? So this little part here with where I'm moving the cursor is here. Okay, and this big blue part here that they've highlighted is here. Okay, so that's kind of, so if I'm looking in context of how this brain is situated on the screen, brainstem and frontal cortex. All right, so now imagine all my cords are going down in, right? So the information is coming up through here. And where am I? Where is it here? This is the amygdala. And it's clearly telling you that it's wired for survival. When it's active, it's hard to think rationally. And the more the amygdala is activated, the more we develop stress. So, this amygdala thing is so amazing. It's the size of a badam, okay? It's the size of an almond. It's not very big at all, but it controls so much. Now, the amygdala doesn't just get you to worry about the present, it also gets to make you worry about the future. All right. Ye, are baba, abhi, this happened. Now, okay, for example, I didn't do my homework or I didn't study for my test. Okay. That's just a fact that you need to observe. But now the amygdala will make you feel a fear about it. I will fail the test. If I fail the test, I will not pass the year. If I don't pass the year, I won't get into my graduate school. If I don't get into my grad school, all my friends will go and only I will be left behind. And then kaise lagega, and what will happen with my parents? That whole drama will play out. And the longer you stay in the amygdala, the harder it will become to travel to this side. Now see how we are biologically set up. We first have this little bridge that we have to cross, but we can't just cross this chotu part and get here. We also have to cross the hippocampus. So what is the hippocampus? It's responsible for memory and differentiating between past and present. It works to remember and make sense of trauma. With consistent exposure to trauma, it sinks. Now, what does it mean? You stood up in math class when you were in second standard, and the teacher shouted at you because you gave a wrong answer. All right? Amygdala ने वो record किया, बाबा ये खतरा है, this is a danger, right? Standing up in class and giving an answer. Now you are in 8th standard. Teacher asks you to stand up. Instantly ये क्या करेगा? खतरा 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 खतरा. By some miracle, if you even get past this little thing, shouting khatra khatra khatra, you come to this hippocampus thing. And it's going to say, yaad hai, second standard mein ye hua tha. So It's going to remind you of that. एंड वो टीचर ने ऐसे चिल्लाया था, फिर तू घर गई थी और मम्मी ने पीटा था, फिर you weren't allowed to go out. So this thing started the fear. This thing is reinforcing वो सब trauma 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 trauma. तो इधर तक logically सोचने में how do you get there only? You have a gate here, then you have a gate here. Are you understanding this? And then you're getting here. Now we are all in Pehchaan. 10th standard khatam hua hai, FYJC, SYJC, some are in degree, some have finished degree. You had trauma in school. Now trauma doesn't have to mean kisi ne peeta, it doesn't have to mean that. You could have been exposed to an alcoholic parent, an alcoholic neighbor, lack of resources like water or electricity, constant noise around you. All right, you could have been exposed to all these things. All these things create trauma. Making sense what I'm trying to say? So now you add experiences together. I am trying to teach you with one example, but now you add the water experience with the teacher shouting at you experience, with the tuition teacher humiliating you in front of someone else experience. You add all these experiences together, and how sensitive is your amygdala? How strong is your hippocampus? Making sense what I'm trying to say here? Everybody is with me on this? So, but we have to get here. Don't we have to get here? Why do we have to get here? Why can't we just live here between these two zones? Why do we have to get here? Come on, come on. I see those light bulbs going, oh my God, that's what's happening. Oh my God, that's what's happening. So, why is it important for us to get to this prefrontal cortex?
Ma'am, can I say?
Yes, yes, please. I want you all to talk to me.
So if we get through our amygdala and reach our prefrontal cortex,
yes,
it helps us think more rationally,
yes,
and like we can take better decisions and not let our fear hold us back.
absolutely, Anjali. Spot on, right? We will use last week ka Ayush ka example. Ayush was not used to me pushing him. And Ayush was not used to me asking him, come on, you can do it, move beyond this. He was not used to that. Now his amygdala triggered. Khatra, 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 khatra. Right? Do something, do something. Itne sare log dekh rahe hain. Do something, do something, do something, do something. Ayush didn't move past amygdala only. He didn't even get to hippocampus to rethink of other memories. Making sense what we're trying to say? We have to stop the amygdala. First of all, we have to recognize it's being triggered. Number one, once we recognize it's being triggered, we need to pause it. Then we have to keep in mind consciously that it is going to have to move through the hippocampus to get us here. Now you're in an interview. Interviewer is asking you a question. Instantly, when you are asked a question that you don't understand, say you did question समझ में ही नहीं आया. What is this amygdala going to say? Khatra, 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 khatra. Correct? You don't know this answer. Freyaz देख रही है टीवी पे. मैं कुछ गलत बोलूंगा. Question भी समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. क्या करूं? Understand what I'm trying to say? So you don't even get to the hippocampus. So यहाँ पे ही कहानी कैसे खत्म करें? Give me an idea. What do you think? यहाँ पे ही कहानी कैसे खत्म करें? हाँ, सोचो सोचो.
Not
Kajal?
sticking to.
One second, huh? Kajal, I think, was trying to say something. Kajal?
Stay calm and take deep breaths.
Yes, take a deep breath. That's definitely one thing. Staying calm is a concept. What we are trying to say is what are some of the things you can practically do to stay calm, right? So the first thing is to take a deep breath. And I'll explain the scientific concept behind why taking a deep breath also helps. But yes, taking a deep breath. Mohammed, what were you saying?
To not sticking into that fear.
Yeah, but tell me
just
practically,
attempting.
we know what we should or shouldn't do. Practically, what steps shall we take to tell him, अच्छा भैया आपने बोला मैंने सुना अभी शांत हो जाओ. What can we do?
May I?
Can we
One second, Anjali Punjabi first and then Anjali Mahana. Yes, Anjali Punjabi.
I think to acknowledge, to get over that fear first, you need to acknowledge and understand that fear, and then let go of it. Because unless and until you don't understand it, you won't know the solution to let go of it.
But in that moment, Anjali, when it's going off, and let's be honest, 20 years of our lives, 21 years of our lives, we've trained it very well. We've told it, protect me from this person, protect me from this experience, protect me from, we've trained it very well. So now, when all of a sudden we are in that moment, we are not going to be able to access this to give us that rationality that we need to stay calm. Making sense what I'm trying to say, Anjali? Or to understand where that fear is coming from. We need to work on it when the amygdala is completely shant. I agree with you. But the question right now is, when it is already triggered, what do I do to calm it down? What can I possibly do? Now she's like, now I don't know. But when
At the
it is
moment when you're in an interview, it's like when you're so scared, you don't even understand what the question is. So I don't know how to get rid of that fear at that point within a minute or two.
so what's the question? If you don't understand a question, what should you do?
Ask again.
Yes, absolutely. Sorry, I didn't understand the question. Right? It's as simple as that. And given your age, even if you say, this is my first interview, I'm a little nervous. Sorry, didn't understand the question. Please, can you repeat? Rather than letting the amygdala get fully triggered. Right? So Kajal suggested a deep breath. Here we talked about getting the interviewer to repeat the question. What else can we do?
Drink water.
Sure, we can drink water. And so we need to write these down so I can scientifically explain to you why these things will help also, right?
Ma'am,
It's called
may I?
interruption of pattern. Anjali, it's called Alex. Yes, yes, of course, Bhushan, you may. Anjali, it's called interruption of pattern. And if you remind me, I'll explain it later. Bhushan, please go ahead.
Uh, ma'am, I think we should provide it more blood. So
How will you do that?
we can do a headstand. We can do running to like our all digestive system will happen, and more blood will provide to our brain
Yeah.
and breathing exercise as Kajal Didi said.
Yes, interruption of pattern. Everything is going to go back to interruption of pattern. So even what Bhushan is saying is going to go to interruption of pattern. All right, so we'll explain that. So you've understood clearly from this, right? Idhar se, idhar, the road it has to travel. But is it such a straight road? Point A to point B to point C? No, because see how much have you ever traveled a maze? ऐसे कभी देखा है? Where you go in at point A and you come out at point B? So doesn't your brain have all these various folds and all these neuro pathways and neurons carrying information? It has a long way to travel. It's not so seedha. There is no bridge. All right. So this brings me to this image here, which also supports the same learning, which supports the same context that we're talking about here, right? Except in this particular image, it says hindbrain, midbrain, forebrain. Again, prefrontal cortex, amygdala, hippocampus, right? You kind of see whichever way you look at it, your information is coming through here. Now, I'm not getting into all the technicalities. There are other nerves that also bring information into our brain. I'm just trying to teach you a concept for interview purposes. All right. So you kind of see how this works. So this is the brainstem and the amygdala. Look down here, hind brain. So it actually says it's the survival part of the brain which controls fight or flight. When engaged, there is no connection to the forebrain. Your child may hit you, bite you, scream at you, spit, run away, or completely shut down. This is your time to make them feel safe. You cannot teach them or discipline them right now. You cannot, because they are unable to learn anything. And what do you see so many parents do? When their child is having a tantrum, at that time only they're screaming at the child, they are hitting the child, they are lecturing the child. The child has no capacity to learn at that stage, none at all. And then if you go to the limbic system, the feeling part of the brain, right? The brainstem and the amygdala are the survival part of the brain. The limbic system is the feeling part of the brain, where emotions are experienced. That's like your hippocampus part. When engaged, there is less connection with the forebrain. Child seems, नहीं मुझे आपके साथ ही बैठना है, I don't want to leave you. You see those children who cling to their mummies when you go to take them from the mummy's hand. They seem demanding, uncooperative, nervous. This is the time to help them regulate their feelings. Are you resonating with any of this? नहीं मुझे आज school, I don't want to go to school only today. So you've moved past survival, but you've moved into limbic system. And then your last portion is here. It's the thinking part of the brain, the forebrain. It controls the executive functions, being able to reason, being able to solve problems. When your child is in this phase is when you want to teach them something. Now today we are doing this class. Anybody is in hindbrain? Anybody is in midbrain? Some of you might be, right? Some of you might have had some argument at home, some chit that has gone on, that is going on in your head. So some of you might be here or here. But the goal of the teacher is what? To ensure and help you to come here so that the learning is imbibed. Makes sense what I'm trying to say? Now, having this information is powerful. It really is super powerful having this information. But knowledge is only as powerful as how you are going to apply it, the application of it. दुर्गेश्वरी उसका मतलब क्या है ये स्टेटमेंट जो मैंने अभी बनाया? Knowledge is only as powerful as its application. What does that mean? Unmute, beta. First step, unmute. Second step, think. First step, unmute. Yes.
Knowledge is powerful as
Only as powerful as its application. What does that mean?
application.
To apply. To apply. What does to apply mean?
मीन जो चीजें हैं जो हम लोग सीखते हैं वो हम लोग खुद पे लेना चाहिए. लाइक राइट एंड लेफ्ट ब्रेन का आपने सिखाया है वो कि लेफ्ट ब्रेन में ऐसा ऐसा होता है, राइट ब्रेन में हम लोग को क्रिएटिव चीजें लानी चाहिए. तो वो हम लोग खुद पे अप्लाई करेंगे. जब हम लोग इमेजिन करेंगे एंड देन वो सोचेंगे तभी तो हम लोग को आएगा.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. So the noun, so to apply is the verb. To apply is the verb. Application is the noun. Application is the noun form of to apply, right? So knowledge is only as powerful as its application. Someone can teach you something again and again and again and again, but until you apply it and practice it, it's not really that powerful. Understand what we're trying to say? So even training your amygdala, you have to practice it. It does not happen because today you've understood the theory, automatically nahi ho jayega. For example, we also have something in our biology called mirror neurons. Mirror समझते हो सब लोग? Mirror, आईना. Mirror neurons, right? So why is a mirror neuron so important when you're answering impromptu questions or giving speeches? Because we are actually designed to copy. We are biologically wired to copy. You know, when someone yawns, we also yawn. If you're walking into a room and someone is laughing really loudly, you have no idea kya joke tha, kisne kya bola, but you will also start laughing because that person is laughing. Those are your mirror neurons. Biologically, God has given them to us. Now, for example, a little girl, okay, 3 years old, 4 years old, she wants to put on makeup. Why? Because she sees mama put on makeup. She wants to copy. And if her mama puts on kajal, she will put on kajal. If you have a little girl whose mama never puts on kajal, only puts on lipstick, that little girl only wants to put on lipstick. She wants to copy. She wants to copy, right? When Kajal was Chotu and she used to see me walk in those big, 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 big heels, she wanted to walk in those big, 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 big heels. I even have video of her wearing those big, big heels for the first time, where she was so excited that she was copying and she was wearing those big heels, right? So these mirror neurons become very helpful to us when we are giving speeches or when we are answering an interviewer's questions. Why do you think these mirror neurons are so powerful? Just a guess. I've not even given you a clue. So, why do you think these are, or how do you think they can help you?
अच्छी चीजें सीखने के लिए।
सही बात है, अच्छी चीजें सीखने के लिए, बट दुर्गेश्वरी, ये है खतरा की बात. आवर ब्रेन विल कॉपी ऐसे ही. Our brain will copy ऐसे ही. That is why good children go into bad company and make poor choices. Our brains are happy to copy, especially if we have not trained our amygdalas, not learned how to get past our hippocampus, not learned to move to the prefrontal cortex. Our brains will copy anyway. अभी हमें पावरफुली ये कॉन्सेप्ट यूज करना है, पॉजिटिवली ये कॉन्सेप्ट यूज करना है. ऑलराइट, और हम इंटरव्यू में है, कोई इंटरव्यूअर हमें क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा है, हमें आंसर तुरंत नहीं पता, नॉर डू वी फुल्ली अंडरस्टैंड द क्वेश्चन. हम ये मिरर न्यूरॉन का कॉन्सेप्ट हमारे हित में कैसे यूज कर सकते हैं? ओ, हमारे हित में, लुक एट माय हिंदी मैन. यस अविशा.
I'm just guessing. Could it be copying the body language? Because you can seem to be more confident like they are. You can sit straight, or you can be like the way they are sitting, or something about body language.
Yes, very good, Avisha. You would start copying how the intentionally copying how the interviewer is sitting, how they are positioned, because people like them. And they don't even understand, they don't even know you're doing that. And subconsciously, their brain is like, wow, she's like me. And so all of a sudden, things relax. All of a sudden, things become easier because our subconscious brain is on all the time, even when we are sleeping, right? So we now understand the science at Pehchaan. So we will use that subconscious mind of the interviewers to our advantage. So you will mimic how they are sitting. And actually, if you are sitting across from them, you are a mirror image. Look at that. How God works it out. You are a mirror image of them. And then they go like, I want to know more from her. She's like me. So you use science to your advantage to do good, to get your message across. Do you know a lot of criminal organizations or terrorist organizations in our world today use this science to train their people, to train their groups? They use it because they know it's powerful science. They know it's how we are biologically wired. So the question now becomes, why can't we use it for good? Why can't we use it to create a much more powerful way? But how many people are teaching it to us? How many of you have learned this before? Correct. Why aren't the good people being taught this? And why are the not so good people being taught this? When it is such a huge power to have in our hands. And there is so much more to our brain science, right? Just now, though, I'm just skimming the iceberg. These are just two concepts that we've just covered now. If these are such powerful concepts, shouldn't we be learning them from the time we are children so we can harness the power of this? Imagine our terror organizations today, and terror organizations are not religious based. There are terror organizations across religions, across different cultures, across different geographies. But our terror organizations today, globally, so powerfully use this science that they have people ready to sacrifice their lives for their causes, right? That's how powerful this science is when used correctly. Now, we don't need anybody giving up their lives for this cause, but we certainly would love people fully engaged in this cause, right? Trying to uplift more people. So I'm going to recap for you so far the concepts we have covered. Okay. So cold, and mummy's left the door open and gone out. All right. Number one. Number one. The first concept is use the question in your answer. Use the question in your answer. So create a reference point. Here is what scientifically creating the reference point does. If anyone in your audience is distracted and has bhatkoed their thought processes somewhere else, it helps them reconnect to your subject. Okay. Number two, ensure that your answer has a left brain component and a right brain component. Therefore, the strong left brains in your audience and the strong right brains in your audience connect. Number three, have an emotional connect. Because whether you're left brain or right brain, it doesn't matter. Everyone goes through the emotion center first and then the logic center. So have an emotion component. Okay? That's when you're answering the question. The other thing you're going to now remember is about yourself. If you get scared, if you get apprehensive, if you don't understand the question, your amygdala has triggered. Here's the thing. Once you give permission to the amygdala to trigger, it takes her, in my case, it is a her, in Mohammed's case, it is a him. It takes her 45 minutes to calm down. You are going for a 1 hour exam. You are going for a 1 hour exam. You sit there, the first question on that paper, you don't understand, you don't know the answer to. The first question on that paper that amygdala has already started. Then you read the multiple choice options of the first question, and even the options make no sense. Amygdala's going thoda this way. You say, okay, chalo, छोड़ देती हूँ question 1, I'll go to question 2. But amygdala is already thoda active, gate is already going thoda up, prefrontal cortex is already less and less accessible. So question 2, which may have otherwise made sense, all of a sudden sounds confusing. So that amygdala is now up, gate up. 45 minutes, that gate is going to stay up, and that's with you making effort to bring it back down. That's with you making effort to bring it back down, it is going to take 45 minutes. What happened to that exam paper? Moin is like, ma'am, seriously, before my exams, you couldn't have taught me this. That's what's going to happen to the exam paper. Tanu's laughter, Moin's face, Kajal's facial expression. That's what's going to happen to that paper. Your interview is 15 minutes. It's a 15-minute interview. Who's going to interview for 1 hour? They might interview for 10 minutes. They might interview for 15 minutes. If you're some mad celebrity, they might interview for 30 minutes. जब तक अमिगडला शुरू हुआ, चालू रहा, इंटरव्यू खत्म, nobody knows what happened. Laugh, laugh. But this is the science of our brains.
Ma'am, I had a question.
Yes, Anjali, ask your question.
So,
Look at how much. Yes, go ahead, please.
So, when you use the interviewer's body language to your advantage, sometimes what happens is when you copy the other person body language, like if you're folding hands, I'll fold hand that way. Doesn't it make the other person uncomfortable in some ways sometimes?
See, now if you do it like, if you're like looking at, one second, let me move this juice away because the last thing I want to do is fling it. If you're going to do it in a very obvious way, you're going to look at her and go, okay, right leg, okay. If you're going to do it in a super obvious way, yes. But no, you all are laughing at me, but I know some of you who would do that. Ma'am ने बोला copy करो अभी देखो कौन सा पैर इधर ऐसा okay. That's what you all will do, right? But if you do it in a subtle manner and if you do it slowly, only their subconscious mind is picking it up. Their conscious mind is not picking it up, Anjali. So if you do it in a subtle manner, it's sort of like this frog in water story that I say for when I try to teach something else, but it would apply somewhere along these lines here. Anjali, if I have a pot of boiling water and I throw a frog in, it's going to jump out immediately, right? Because its sensors are going to pick up that it's hot and it's just going to jump out. But if I put a frog in room temperature water, the kind of temperature it is used to, all right, and then I put that pot on the stove on low, and that water boils slowly, 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 he's not going to jump out. Now, I use this example when I'm trying to teach some other concepts. I'm not going to finish that concept right now. When we reach that stage, I'll finish it. But whatever we do, we want to do subtly. But the fact that you're asking me this question makes me think that you've read something somewhere or you've seen something somewhere that is making you ask this question. What is making you ask this question?
So it's with me only. Like if somebody is copying my actions, I feel very uncomfortable. Like I am very conscious about my own actions at that point. That is why this question came in my mind.
Okay. So maybe that person is not quite doing it as subtly as we want them to do it. That is something I would like you to observe next time and then tell me. Were they doing it in a way that you could tell that's what they are doing? Or was it subtle? Now, I'm saying copy how they're sitting. I'm not saying her hand goes up, your hand goes up. I'm not saying her head nods, your head nods. I'm saying copy or mirror how they are sitting on that interview table or across from you. And of course, periodically, you would copy their gestures of acknowledgement. If you notice you're sitting with an interviewer who, after most questions, is doing this, like, great, let's move to the next thing. Great, let's move to the next thing. Then maybe after 2 3 answers, when you're developing a rapport with her, which we will cover next time, building rapport, then you would be like, great, next question, right? So now you have copied her gesture intentionally, but you build rapport first. If you start copying gestures without building rapport first, Bhushan, I see you, darling. Just give me 1 second. If you copy her gestures without creating rapport first, of course she's going to be uncomfortable. Yes, Anjali? Feel kind of better about this? If you have a doubt, clear it. Ask another question.
So it should be like first I am answering her questions, and in a subtle manner through my answers only I'm supposed to build a rapport with her, right?
That's right. That's right. And we will do rapport building as part of this course that we are doing. We will do rapport building because building rapport is key to having a successful relationship and building a successful network. Yeah. Bhushan, what was your question, please?
Ma'am, my question is related to amygdala. You said that like whatever happened in our life, the amygdala record, and after sometimes, if we see that thing, so it reminds us that ki khatra hai, and this is what happened with you. Like amygdala gives us signal. So we can't use this thing in a positive way. If I read one book and after 2 3 years someone show me that same book, so amygdala will not give me signal ki you have read these things in book, so it
No,
doesn't.
no,
No?
no. But first of all, amygdala is not recording all your memories. Amygdala is not doing that. Your hippocampus is keeping stock of your memories and those sort of things. You know, you know, if you must have heard about this concept of evolution, right? Have you heard of evolution? There is a theory. There is a mom. May I close this door, please? 1 second, guys. I'm just going to close this door because I'm feeling a little cold. I'm just seeing the time. Yeah. So I, because there's so much to talk about here and teach over here that okay. Sorry, Bhushan. Back to your thing, your question. The amygdala does not store all your memories. So I was talking about evolution. You must have heard there is a theory or there is a concept that once a man came from monkeys or from apes, right? Once upon a time we had tails, then over time we had less use for tails, so the tails fell off. Or you take this example of COVID that is going on just now, this virus that's going on just now. There are some certain scientists that are saying that this virus is mutating. That means as people's bodies are getting it, it's changing, right? Babies who are getting this virus are able to recover on their own without medication. Breast milk is able to heal it. These are all different theories. What is right, what is wrong, that's not what I'm speaking about here. But so it is so said that we as in human beings, used to have the amygdala from the time the first humans came onto this planet, because it was given to us to trigger us, because we were hunters, right? Our ancestors were hunters. They lived out in the fields, they hunted animals to eat. There were tigers and there were lions where they lived. So the amygdala was supposed to signal if the leaves started moving aise, for them to be a little scared. There might be a lion over there, there might be a tiger over there, please back off, please be aware, please take care of yourselves, right? So once upon a time, the theory goes there were humans with amygdalas and there were humans without amygdalas as evolution was happening. The humans without amygdalas all got eaten up because there was nothing to tell them khatra, run away, lion, run away, tiger, run away, elephant, run away, fire, get out of the house. There was nothing to trigger them. So, in one way or another, they became extinct. And though humans with amygdalas obviously then started having relations or intimate interactions with other humans with amygdalas, so slowly, we all have amygdalas. Now, over time, we are no longer hunters, we are no longer gatherers, but the amygdala's purpose, its only purpose and its only job is to show the khatra. That's it. But now, when we are not hunting, we're not gathering, we don't have to be living in the bushes somewhere, we don't have to worry about a jungle fire. Over the centuries, we've trained our amygdala protect my ego, please protect my ego, protect my self esteem, right? So, therefore, the amygdala will trigger you in concepts like log kya kahenge, कैसे लगेगा मैं ये करूंगी तो, बुरा लगता है. So now the amygdala, because we have trained it this way, perceives all these things as khatra. Ma'am kya bolegi? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Now, because it's only its job, Bhushan, is not to find what is right. Its job from the beginning of time was to only find what is wrong. We don't have any part in our brain, no part, not even a two sick part in our brain that helps us look for what is right. Nothing. बोलते हैं ना, you can keep on doing nice things for people, keep on doing nice things for people, keep on doing nice things for people, but they will remember the one bad thing you did to them, right? And then all the nice things you did now, just gone. But actually, there is a box to keep what she did wrong. There is no box that keeps what she did right. समझ में आ रहा है or no? So that is why they will remember. पता है 1965 में तूने ऐसा ऐसे बोला मुझे, अरे लेकिन 1968 में ये किया, 1969 में ये किया, 1980 में ये किया, 1990 में ये किया, ये सब याद नहीं है, वो सब याद नहीं है, 1960 में ये किया था तूने. लाफ लाफ, सही बात है. Now, if you can, Tanu's like, yes, sahi baat hai. Yes, Tanu, I know. I know. Need I say more? Um, so, but that is, it is important to understand the science of how we are designed. But does that mean we have to live at the mercy of the amygdala? Now that we know about it, do we have to live at its mercy? Yes or no? It's a simple question I'm asking. Absolutely not. We don't have to live at its mercy. Will it constantly play a role in our lives? Absolutely. Every day, every minute, every hour, it will try to do its thing. That is its job. You have to just be happy you have an amygdala that works. The same amygdala that makes you think, log kya sochenge, is the same amygdala when you're walking down a dark street and you see some shadow. It's the same thing that will say, khatra, back off, go back to where you came from. So we can't say, इस situation में चाहिए amygdala, इस situation में नहीं चाहिए amygdala. It doesn't work that way. Right? I want my mom when she'll give me the cookies and the hugs. I don't want her when she's going to get angry and discipline me. Sorry. Same mom. Getting the concept of this thing? All right. So, what can you do to help yourself? Number one key that I have learned is to not allow, try as much as possible to recognize when it is getting triggered and try to keep it from fully getting triggered. So, taking a deep breath is definitely one of those things. Deep, matlab deep, okay? Almost like it's going to go to the bottom of your stomach. That kind of breath. And bring it back out. And you just keep on doing that till you actually head now feels like you're going to faint because you're taking in that much oxygen and bringing it out. Yeah, what Durgeshwari is trying to do right now. So you're going to do that. That's interruption of pattern, which I will cover next time. Okay, but interruption of pattern, anything that will interrupt the pattern. Listening to music but itna zor se that you cannot concentrate on anything else but the loud volume of the music, right? uh, I don't want to say a television show because that does something completely different to our brains, but anything that is like someone said, go out for a walk, go out for a jog, anything that will interrupt the pattern. Like, for example, my Tanu's amygdala gets triggered very fast when it comes to exams. Very, very fast. Okay. Like, it takes her half of a second to get there. And what I have learned with her over the years is when it comes to exams, I have an uncanny ability of allowing her amygdala to stay stagnant. If I pray with her, if I reassure her that even if she fails the paper, it's fine, we do it again, or whatever I have learned keeps it calm, she actually somehow is able to use it to not allow it to get triggered. Now, what her mind does to use that, I don't know, but I have learned it does that. So, like recently, when she went for her law exam paper, also, she was like, I live two oceans away, but I could feel her all the way here. But it took one conversation and one reminder that she doesn't need to get upset about this. And her 2.5 hour journey, the amygdala did nothing to her. Now, when she got on the paper and she saw that there were questions she didn't know, and okay, but she came through that. So, you have to figure out how to help your amygdala. Make sense what I'm trying to say? For interviews, this is super important. Super important. You have 15 minutes to make a point. You can't spend those 15 minutes trying to keep this little thing shant. To me, it's like people being scared of small dogs. वो छोटा toy puppies, toy dogs you don't have. And people like big grown adults want to run away from it. Ah, mummy, this what? It's this small. If you step on it, it won't be able to do anything to you. Right? It's this literally this small. What can it possibly do to you? That's what this is. This amygdala is this small and it's controlling your whole life. It's this small and you're giving it that much control. So now, because I don't want to just keep on going in this class like this, and I want you to learn something and I want you to put it to use. And I know, even though I gave you time to rework your sentences, those sentences need to be reworked. Would you say yes or would you say no? Ankita is saying yes, Tanu is saying yes, Arushi is saying yes, Madhura is saying yes. Some of you are saying no. So those of you who are saying no, my sentence is perfect as is. Let me hear it. What's your sentence? Kajal is like, dude, even if I think it's perfect, I'm not reading it now. I'll take as much time as possible to make it more perfect. Anybody want to share their sentence right now before we end the class?
Ma'am, I would like an advice for my
Okay,
statement.
please
Okay.
go ahead.
So this response is for the question, what you have learned from Pehchaan. Okay.
Okay.
At Pehchaan, I got a chance to believe in myself, causing the bubble within me to explode with passion in all directions of improvement and leading myself into a leader.
It didn't tell me anything. They're beautiful words, but there's no message. So how will you fix that? See, one second, just to put it in context. Now I said something like this, we are all in a class. It is possible that the amygdala begins to switch on at this stage. Laugh, Ananya, laugh. But you got to put it in context, right? It begins to switch on at this stage. I tried so hard, and he has tried hard. I can tell because I know him. He has tried hard. He's put his heart into it, he's put his emotion into it, and then it's the reaction is not reciprocated, right? So that amygdala gets switched on. But somehow his brain also knows I'm not a threat. So that amygdala is not fully activated. But it's taken years for his brain to, his eyes are processing, right, who it is. So his eyes are also sending the message back or the signal back that it's her, she's not really a threat. But oh, this statement has been made in front of so many people. So we're walking that line. Making sense what I'm trying to say? Now, there are so many times, so many of you ask me, ma'am, how did you know this? Or how did you know that? Because now when amygdalas start to get switched on, I can see it. I can see it. I can see it in eyes. I can see it in body language. I can hear it in the tone. That is why I need cameras on. And that is why I am one of these people who likes to be in person classrooms, right? Because the second it's switched on, I'm like, oh, that child, it's on. And you know how much you can push or how much you have to back off, right? Right now, I'm teaching you to be the interviewee, right? There are times you can switch on the interviewer's amygdala also. वो एक अलग level का learning है. अभी we are not ready for that. So Mohammed, look beta, read your statement again. Slowly read it to me again.
At Pehchaan, I got a chance to believe in myself, causing the bubble within me to explode with passion in all directions of improvement.
Which bubble?
And
One second, darling, one second. Now you've used a creative analogy, allowing the bubble within me. What was that bubble? Label it. What was that bubble? Because I am an audience not connected to this program at all. So what was that bubble that that was burst? Keep reading that, the bubble line.
causing the bubble of consciousness within me. That
Okay, so the bubble would, if you're wanting to burst the bubble, it has to be a bubble that you didn't want. You don't want to burst a bubble you want, right? So you consciousness is what you want. So it bursts the bubble of lack of awareness to create consciousness. Do you kind of understand what I'm saying? So you label your bubble. It bursts the bubble of lack of awareness of my peers having to study with less or this and brought me into consciousness. That bubble bursting brought me into consciousness. So you've used a creative analogy, but it hasn't brought the point across. Understanding
got
what I'm trying to say? Now keep reading.
causing the bubble within me to explode with passion in all directions of improvement and leading myself to be a leader.
Right. So now, if you remove the word bubble, because the bubbles are all these things that keep us closed, right? Bubble is also a form of a wall. It's like a type of a film. It keeps you away from people. It keeps you away from things. It keeps you isolated into something. We don't want bubbles. We want all the bubbles within us to burst. We want awareness to come in, consciousness to come in, leadership to come in. So you don't want to create a bubble within you, because eventually, even if it's something good you're trying to create, that bubble gets to a point where it bursts. Then you don't have the quality. So your analogy doesn't resonate. Making sense what I'm trying to say? Yes.
Yes,
So now I think you might be able to do a better version of that statement. Yes?
yes.
Perfect. Well done. Thank you for having the courage to share that. Ananya,
Thank you.
now see, hello, leaders and mentors. A way to make an amygdala slowly come shant, the one that's been triggered. Thank you for having the courage to share that. Oh, okay, I didn't do anything wrong, even if so many people are around. So that trigger wala, first his nerves, his Eyes got the message, okay, she's not a khatra. Oh, but she's done something to make it be a khatra. So just be careful. Now, when I say, hey, Mohammed, let's fix this sentence, this is what we did. And thank you for having the courage to share, that amygdala is like, all right. Kind of seeing how this thing works? Yes. You can actually control people like a remote control if you understand how the brain works. Actually, like a remote control if you understand how the brain works. Ananya, last, and then I want to close today.
So I refined my sentence to painting the canvas of my passion red. Pehchaan has taught me to get out of my own way.
But the canvas red is not connecting with the Pehchaan, making you get out of your own way, because the sentences independently make perfect sense. When you're joining them, I'm not getting the message. What does painting the canvas red have to make sure, have to do with Pehchaan ensuring you get out of your way? So what you've done is you've got all the left hemisphere people going, wow, the canvas is red. And then you've got all the right hemisphere people going, oh, it made her get out of the way, and red and canvas. And then everybody's like, so?
The connect is missing.
Yeah. Connect is missing. Right? All right. You learned something new today?
Yes.
You learned something helpful today? Right. So the Pehchaan sentences are going to wait one more week. They're going to wait one more week, and you have one more week to work on them with these new learnings, right? Best way to learn is to share with a buddy what you've learned. Sorry, best way to imbibe is to share with a buddy what you've learned. So you can either pick someone on this group. I bet you Ajmer would love a buddy. I bet you Durgeshwari would love a buddy. Find a friend you can share today's learning with. And the more you teach, the more you learn. Remember that. The more you teach, the more you learn. And the more you teach, the more you are also able to apply what you learn, because when you're teaching it, it becomes imbibed with, the lesson stays within you. Then when you're in a situation, what happens? Because the lesson already exists within you, you're able to apply it. So teach, talk about what you're learning, discuss what you're learning, challenge what you're learning. Don't just take it for gospel truth. Is Freyaz right? Has she taught us the right thing? Is there science to the contrary? Question what you're being told. And come with your questions. All right? Cool. This is the best class of the week. Yes, Swara.
As we're just ending today, can I please read a quick sentence? It's in context with today.
Yes,
Okay?
absolutely. Please
Yes,
do.
yes. Pehchaan is like a plate of Thanksgiving dinner for me. Makes me want to eat everything, makes me want to grab every opportunity, and too difficult to put down.
Yes. Ananya, do you hear that? Two sentences with a connecting thought, right? Left brain, right brain, emotion, action. Okay, and but an analogy that wouldn't work in India. It would work in America, but it wouldn't work in India, because the concept of Thanksgiving dinner is not part of the Indian culture. So that brings me to a learning for fourth week, which is your answers have to be in cultural context also, right? But if you were talking to Paris, your dosti exchange person, this would be a sentence that she could resonate with. But now, because we are answering in one line, it's a teaser line. There would be more added to it. Yes, absolutely, Swara. You're on the right track with it. Okay, are we good? Are we better off for having spent this 1.5 hours together? Don't do anything that's not leveling you up. That's just a waste of time. So only join if it is indeed leveling you up. Only participate if it is indeed creating you into the person you want to be. Otherwise, don't do it. All right, everybody. So your sentences for next time. But if I were you, I'd keep your first sentence, I'd keep today's sentence, I'd keep the next sentence to kind of see how you've transitioned through this. And those of you doing MS Talks, I bet there is learning here that you can use in the upcoming week to level yourselves up. Right? Okay, cool. Have a great evening, everybody. Have a superb evening. Now my amygdala is going closer to 11, closer to 11. Finish your assignment, finish your assignment. All right. So I gotta go, but thank you all for spending this time with me and learning what you're learning and leveling up. Kajal and Satyam, thank you for doing the food distribution today. I'm eagerly awaiting the videos that you all have taken. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a superb evening. Take care. Bye.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Love you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Love you
Have a
too.
great
Ma'am.
day.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Take care.
Thank you, ma'am.